Hello, everyone. It's Andrew, your host of the Because Football podcast. Thank you for viewing another episode with us. Today, we've got an awesome guest. His conversation, his ideas, his beliefs, his values, his perspective, his thoughtfulness, and intelligence. Obviously, you can tell by all of the adjectives so far that he really made an impression on me. This is George Osoya, the Executive Director of Football Without Borders Kenya, a really awesome organization using football as an entry point to impact people's lives in their community in Kisi County, Kenya, which is the northwestern part of Kenya, closer to the Uganda border. This is an awesome episode. Number one, if you're watching on any of the platforms, you're going to get to see George. He's in a beautiful outdoor studio in his home in northwest Kenya. It's beautiful. You're going to hear chickens in the background. You're going to hear life happening. You're going to hear wind rustling through the trees. I was cooped up in a stuffy apartment, so I'm really jealous of George. But just so you guys know, expect a little bit of chops at some point, a little bit of interference. I got rid of a lot of it that would have been really grating on the ears, but otherwise, please don't let it get in the way of the fantastic conversation we had. Thanks again for listening. Let's get to it. All right, everyone, welcome to another episode of the Because Football podcast. This is your host, Andrew. Today, we have a very special guest calling to us from Kisi County, Kenya. We've got George Osoya, the founder and executive director of Football Without Borders Kenya. George, welcome to Because Football.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Andrew, for your invitation. It's so great to finally meet you.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. I know we've exchanged messages over LinkedIn over the past few years, and I followed what the organization has been doing and all the great work. So we're excited to tell our audience about that today. But before we get into the work of your organization and your community, my first question for you is, what is your earliest memory of football?
It was so nice. I can say that because every child that is growing would like to play like someone. Because all over the world, it is more of DSTV, and people are seeing the way English Premier League, Spain Premier League, they're really growing each and every day, and people would love to be like Messi. People will love to be like Didier Drogba,
Sure.
from Africa, and each and every child is growing with this. So I want to say that my memory was so great because I wanted to reach their level, like playing professional leagues. But it is unfortunate that I didn't reach there. My signing was limited with the injury that I had. So from there, I couldn't play the professional league. But I'm here right now. I'm playing football. Yeah, I'm playing football and really enjoying whatever that is going within the community. Yeah.
Brilliant. Yeah, I think like pretty much all of us who watch football start as a kid with that dream, and then at different stages and in different ways that changes, and we kind of start to see the reality. But it doesn't mean that football can't be an important part of our lives and a way to connect with
Yeah.
each other. What do you remember? Like who introduced you to the game? Was it just like being in your community and seeing matches on TV? Was it watching older kids or adults playing, in the local fields? What was kind of the first introduction for you?
Yeah, we have a lot of things that are going on within the community because community is totally, rural area and urban area are totally different. And I can remember my first time in football. I had what we call football amaora, the polythene paper. Then you have the string around it. So in my bag, when I was going to primary school, I used to have 5 of them. So I was
Wow.
the champion. I was the champion. So whenever I'm in the class, I need to coordinate the leagues. I coordinate the leagues. Class 7, class 8 should be playing with this because I'm the only person who is owning this. So I had the credibility from all the young kids that I was with, my age mates, and people who are older than I. So the influence of playing football started from there because I was seeing like I can coordinate, I can give feedback, I can give the result, and I can act as a mediator amongst these teams. So there are people who are playing good football, and there are people who are not playing good football. So if you compare these people, you find that there is neglect, and the kids doesn't hide this. They'll say,
Mm.
no, so and so you don't know how to play. So just sit down there. You see. So I used to think about this. How can I do this? So that I become a good player because I was not good. I was good in class. And I wanted to be part of the team that was playing, which is our class, grade 4, grade 3, there. So I started training with this the Hammer, uh, the polythene paper ball. So I used to train with it each and every time. And then my elder brother, who is Joski, was a very good goalkeeper. So each and every morning I could wake up and train with him. Within a duration of time, he went to the high school and I was in the primary school. So that limit of playing together and interacting, was not there.
Hmm.
So I had to introduce my friend onto this, and then uh, say that if I'm not playing, that tomorrow I'm not carrying the ball. You see, so everybody was in suspense. Well, so we need to include this guy into the
Yeah,
game.
because so you had
Yeah.
you would make and you had the small balls that everyone could actually play with, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you say no, tomorrow I'm not carrying this. If I'm not included in the match, tomorrow
Yeah.
I'm not carrying the ball.
There's no game.
So
Yeah. No
yeah,
me, then you don't play at all. So yeah, you
you
had some
don't play.
influence for sure. You were very clever and intelligent about how you could.
Yeah, how you can fix yourself because everybody want to play. So you just find a solution on how you can fix yourself. They don't know how to make the balls. I know how to make the balls. I don't know how to play, but they can use my ball to play. So if I'm not included, I'm not only coordinating the
Mm,
program, but I need to get included into. So when I went to the high school, I got opportunity because I was good. I was good in playing football, and the schools wanted to sponsor me, to pay my school fee, do everything. But
okay.
I selected this school. This is the school that I want. Despite they were not performing good in football, but I said this is what I want. So from there, I started joining the local teams, and I meet different coaches. And coach will tell you, now you're not good footballer. The other coach will say, yeah, you're a good footballer. So from there,
Mm,
that is the way I got more influence, because if a coach today influence you to tell you, oh, today you played well, that is a motivation inside you, and then you will say, oh, okay, then I can make it. So I started having the individual training because I was a referee by then, and again
okay.
I started training as a coach. So I knew that some coaches will motivate you and some coaches will never motivate you. So it becomes a journey of progressive, like I move from one step to another step. Despite that I'm playing, I have another team that I'm coaching. Despite that I'm having all these teams, I can be a center person, I can't be a referee. Then motivate them by saying, even if you are a footballer, you can still manage these things, you can do these things.
Brilliant. So it sounds like, you were selecting the environments and the mentors to kind of support you, who recognize your talents and who could help support you. So I'm noticing a trend of yeah, a lot of like leadership within you, and obviously attached to the game, and just really looking for the right opportunities as well. So I imagine that's a kind of mindset and skill that helped you lead to this current point, with Football Without Borders Kenya. Could you tell me about what you started to see within your community, and what problems you were trying to solve by starting this organization?
Thank you so much, Andrew, for this question, because this is the trigger. This is where it influenced me to be who I am today. Because in 2009, I was really young, and that is when I started playing maybe some part of professional football, because I was playing in the Div 1 league in Kenya with the Oyugis United. So from 2010 there, I was selected to be a captain of the team. Then I got influence and I joined to another organization that is called SEP, Society Empowerment Project. So from there, I started working and training kids. So in 2012, I was selected to go and represent the organization in Rwanda, as a leader, as a young leader. So I got the opportunity to interact with different people who are
Mm,
playing football, you know, and now they are doing other different things. And then the question come like, what if today you have the injury? You depend so much on sports.
right.
What if
Yep.
today you have the injury? What will you do? So from there, I started asking a lot of questions because I depend so much on playing football, and my art was willing, to play for the professional leagues, like to play in Gor Mahia, to play in maybe
Mm-hmm.
USA, UK, any place. But I found like this is zero because each moment, each time that you take to train to go there, people just think of 90 minutes, of you playing. Then from there, who are you? These are some of the questions that I was asking myself. So from there, I was selected again to go and represent my organization in Uganda with Soccer Without Borders. I know USA is known very well. I went there as a leader as well,
Mm-hmm.
a young leader. What I saw there, because they were working with refugees, and they're using football to bring these people together, then share with them a lot of life skills. They train them English and other things. So I got a
Mm.
lot of questions from there. Being that I'm a leader and I'm a footballer, yes, I'm playing football, and that these people are doing this, So I was empowered actually. I was empowered at the same time, developed to think on different areas. So in 2014, I went to Sweden. I was selected under UNDP, UNDP,
Okay,
UNSDP.
yeah, UN, yeah,
Uh,
Sustainable Development Project, right? Yeah.
Yes, so I went there and took a human rights course and some of the women development courses with Footballer Foster. So from
Okay.
there, I started learning more about women and women football as well. So when I came back, I started driving myself to start something within the community. So I began with empowering young kids, talking much about sports for development, sports for change, life after football. So
Right.
in 2017, I drive myself and started. I connect with my friend from South Africa who is running Football Without Borders as an organization. And then I
Okay.
told him I want to start something within Kenya. So the key things that I was working on when I was thinking about starting an organization was the poverty. Because when I was seeing my community, I saw them, they have strength. They have, uh, it is a high altitude area, which means that they do much of agriculture. So
Mm.
why do they talk of poverty? You know, those are the questions. Then I talk of HIV and AIDS, which is health, because we are close to the Lake Victoria and a lot of things are happening near the lake. This. It is a great experience that people have in Africa. A lot of things are happening close to the lake. And then the HIV and AIDS is high, So I
Mm.
wanted a way on how I can fight this. What I think of is sport for agriculture because there is the entry point. It is what my community knows. And for me
Mm.
to tell them that they're not poor, I need to start with the weaker things that they think that it is not something that can sustain them to make it stronger. So I introduced my project to have what we call a knowledge behind agriculture so that they cannot do large scale farming, but they do small scale farming, productive one.
More on
Yeah.
like a family household basis, like everyone having a small garden or farm for themselves. Is that what you mean with that type of scale? Rather, like you don't need to own or lease massive bits of land and many hectares. You can just start with kind of the land in your near your home or your community.
Definitely, because that is what you can have, you know.
Right.
And I was saying like if you have like $20 right now, that is what you need. Why having millions of dollars? Those are the questions. We are poor because we have 20 million, we have $20, but we don't know how to use this $20.
Hmm.
So with agriculture, you start with what you have. So for me, I develop a concept that is called Kick for a Better Life concept. The Kick for a Better Life concept drive me back from 2012 when I was in Rwanda, because we had what we call Football 3, which has been divided into three parts. These three parts, we have open discussion. For me, what I do with open discussion, I bring the theme of the day. If we want to talk of agriculture, that is the theme that I bring over there. Then through the points, I will now see if we plant seeds, these are the points that I need to give. So
Mm-hmm.
my kick for a better life concept, I have 12 points. If you lose the match, you have a point. If you draw the match, you have 2 points. If you win the match, you have 3 points. It means that we don't concentrate so much on sports. Whoever will come out with a good talent and play into the professional leagues, it is okay. But for me, what I focus on, I want to include each and every person to feel that they are capable, capable of eradicate poverty within the community. Yeah, and that is something that is very sensitive because when parents came to learn about this, they see the stages, the way their children sit down, talk of the theme of the day, then they go play inside the field, the way they pass information inside the field, you know, like the corner, they celebrate together. Who on earth you can score a goal and go celebrate with you? That's a miracle. Because if team
Mm.
A and team B celebrate together and read and then answer the questions, that is so brilliant. Because
Yeah, very. Yeah.
they need a point of celebrating together. Because that is 2 points. If they don't celebrate, then we withdraw 2 points from their points. So
Mm.
it means that whatever that we want is unity. And the reason why people are behind because we are not working together. And then in football without borders, this is what we bring for the children to work together, to help each other, because there are some who know something that the others
Hmm.
doesn't know. So they teach themselves. So in the close discussion, we will bring them together. Remember, we don't have referee in this match. We have only mediator.
Okay.
So their fair play must be embraced. If they don't embrace fair play, we deduct points out of it.
So it creates with that, with not having an official referee, it creates accountability from both teams to sort together and like you said, decide the fair play or what is and isn't acceptable. And then you're creating that opportunity for discussion, certainly for argument, for confrontation, and then having to resolve everything as well. So it sounds like not only the way that you have your scoring and point system, but just the football in general is what kids want to do, right? It's fun, they enjoy it. So you bring them in with football, but then through that, you're educating them on life skills, whether it's agriculture and just general ways of kind of being together and working as a community.
Definitely. Because like now when you coach children, there are a lot of things that you don't know, you know, because different child has different idea, and then you're trying them to play football and be equal. That is totally different, because you will never make them be equal, and that is
Mm,
why we have academies who have thousands of kids, but only one person come as a professional player. So
exactly.
it is us who are limited the life of these kids, because they will say, I was in Bayern Academy. Then from there, where did I go? So with Football Without Borders, we structure these things so that this child should know that despite they play football, despite they earn something out of it, they need to have what we call enterprise. They need to know on how they can invest in other things. They need to know on how the life start after they have injuries inside the field.
Hmm.
So this is something that we are working on, and that structure each and every person knows. If they come inside the field, they do it by themselves. Because until when will 4 or 5 coaches or 30 coaches or 100 coaches train 5,000 kids? That is so hard. You know. So we give them the opportunity to train themselves, to learn
Mm.
from different things that they can do together. So they do their things. We train only mentors to be trainers of trainees. We can select three, four, or the captains. Then they start with the kick for a better life concept. Then from there they go to the real match.
Brilliant. And if I could go back a few minutes, you mentioned, for example, people might only have $20, right? And see what can be achieved with that. So it sounds like you're obviously teaching the agribusiness side and enterprise and some financial literacy, and that you're trying to teach them that $20 can be seen as an investment, right? Like what can you do and purchase to then lead to more? Without that education, what would people in the community, what would the kids typically spend those $20 on, or how would they view those $20 if not as an investment, if not as a way to actually slowly and steadily build towards a more lucrative future?
I wish, Andrew, you could have been in my community, because right now you can see kids going home because of the school fee, and maybe they lack something, you know, within the school, or maybe it is just a problem that they're facing at home. So with this, what we do, it is not only per se investment, but they need to have the brain that each and every time they do something, they need to invest. Investing their time is very important. Investing the money
Mm.
as well is very important. And again, investing their time in doing all this agriculture project. So the outcome is what they think on what they should be doing with. That is investment. They invest in education. They pay. They buy
Mm.
school materials. You know, they buy books by themselves. They pay some part of the fee. They help their parents to do this. So they invest in education which they don't know that they're doing it. You know. So it is not only that they need to go to the bank and put the $20 into the bank, but this
Mm.
$20 should be doing something that is constructive. Remember, these children should not work. That is what even our children policy says, that it is called child labor. You know,
Mm.
we are destroying our societies because if we talk of child labor, this person is eating. You know, this person need food. You only need to give them the idea on how it is, they should structure themselves from the law side, and that is what I like with the project or the academies, because any academy that knows what they're doing, they will start developing a child from the early age. You know, like now when I say more of football for agriculture, they will go back home. They are good messenger. They will go back home and tell their parents. This is what a coach told us. If you are planting maize, you need to put fertilizer, cover with the soil, then put maize. So the high yield is there automatically. When the parent
Mm.
was putting maize, then cover with the fertilizer, then they affect the seed. Now they're not affecting the seed. So that is part of another investment. You know, they invest their knowledge, what they have learned, invest into their parents, and the parents are now doing the right thing. Yeah.
And yeah, so it's like almost like an intergenerational type of educating and teaching and when you mentioned kind of the knowledge at a young age, like what is the typical age that you're starting with some of these kids in the programs?
We have a lot of life skills training. And for example, if I want to talk of education, you know, we have a circle of friends, they introduce themselves, you grow leadership skills onto them, you know. Then from there, counting, you know, like saying, throwing ball and say one, two, or others pretend to be dog, cat, or something like that. So that is a point that you start with the young kids. You give them what they are not having at home, you
Mm.
know. Because if I start talking in Kijaluo or in Luos, you know, our language, then the others are not speaking Luos. You're not adding a profit to this person. So the common language will be Kiswahili or English. And how can you put in these Kiswahilis and English into these kids? You need to introduce the life skills that goes with what these kids need. You know, and that is what we do. If we want to talk of maths, if someone doesn't know something, we introduce a small game that talk about the information, that deliver the
Hmm.
information that they need to learn. Yeah.
Okay, so it sounds like it's not necessarily the ages, but just trying to fill in even in a very foundational level, exposing the kids to some of that
Yeah.
knowledge. And it's all kind of through those games. It's through like football, as you mentioned, is kind of like the center that holds all that together. With the case of you mentioned like with the football for agriculture and teaching about agribusiness, how are you getting some of those best practices and information, to then share with your mentors, to then to the kids? Like, where is some of this knowledge and experience coming from?
Yeah, we have special people with special ideas, or we can call them the lecturers. You know, people who have special ideas on the specific area. If it is agriculture, we can just bring someone who is specialized onto this, and that is what I normally do. We can have a workshop. Remember, I talk of the open discussion. In this open discussion, I can bring someone with a knowledge on on farming. You know, so that you don't give wrong information. Because remember, I said a child give whatever that you said. If you can a child today, that person will recognize you even if he gets or she gets old. So the same thing is happening with whatever the kind of information that you share with these kids, you know. So what we normally do, I can't say that I know everything, but there are some of the things that I know within agriculture. So that is my limit. There are some people who are more advanced, and these are the people now that we bring aboard. I talk of TOTs, trainers of trainees. So we normally select a group of youths that can take even 2 months training, on agriculture, so that they have a knowledge on that is required for these children,
Right.
to have the information that is required for them to deliver within the community. Yeah.
Brilliant. So you're like it's kind of taking the information from specialists, from experts, sharing that to another level of mentors, right? And trainers that are more of an intermediate level, and then down to the kids themselves. And but it sounds like a lot of the yes, there's the specific agricultural information, but a lot of what you're doing really is dependent on that discussion, conversation, a more open type of learning, where it sounds like a lot of questions in addition to certainly some information, but then a lot of questions. Is that different from the traditional educational system that they're seeing? From my knowledge, just a little bit of learning about educational systems within East Africa. It's a lot of like the rote learning of, hey, the teacher says this, we repeat it, and there might not be the open dialogue. Would you say that's an accurate representation? And so then what you're doing through the more discussion and question base is kind of a different type of learning style?
Yeah, it is totally different, because remember I start by saying that we give them opportunity. So I can't say that I know everything. That is the word that I normally use, because these children, there are some who knows more than you do. So we provide a workshop. That is why I call it workshop, not training. So that we interact, we share. They
Mm.
write
Yeah.
notes on what they feel, and what they understand about this. Because remember, Football Without Borders is bringing something that is within the community. The only thing that we want to do is to upgrade it. You know, so they already know their parents are growing maize, their parents are growing beans, their parents are growing cabbages. But how can they do it better? Is now the issue, and the reason why we bring people who have special ideas onto this. Yeah. So we
Yeah.
provide a room for them to discuss, to tell us how they do it. And then you correct where it is possible. You give credit where it is possible as well.
Hmm. Yeah. And how have the programs generally been received by the parents and by elders in the community?
I can say it is now 90 something percent, because when we started, everybody was confused. Field and farm is totally different.
Hmm.
They were trying to connect, like how is our children knowing much about agriculture, and they work from home to go and play football. Why do they connect everything? How do they do it? So this question arose each and every time. And then I took my time and introduced a project that is called home to home farming, so that I can introduce the parents of whatever that I'm doing. In that, if their children goes home and tell them this is what we are doing, they have the idea and the knowledge about it. So we introduced a program that is called home to home farming, which was funded by a friend that is called Felipe Luna from Mexico. He gave us some funds on to run this project throughout the year, and we did successfully. We introduced them to Football Without Borders, why Football Without Borders is doing football for agriculture, and why did Football Without Borders uh, decide to change it from agriculture to agribusiness,
Hmm.
and why do we have their children. From there, they have learned. Even we are giving scholarship. We are giving the opportunity for the best talented kids to go and study from the other areas, which is 100% successful, because it lower the burden to these parents.
Hmm.
Again, if you go to their homes, they have small kitchen gardens. Parents are not suffering. If they come from school, they pour water, they do everything, and then they go to the field, because they know if weekend comes in, 10 homes must be visited. If we visited 10 homes and you don't have the small kitchen garden, then it means that we deduct points from you. You know, so it is a competition that is going on, and this
Hmm.
competition was not a competition that people have in school, but it is a competition of motivating someone to do something that is positive within the community. And that is how we try to eradicate poverty. And the parents are now coming into the system, you know, because they have the knowledge, they have everything. If a child come
Right.
with the wrong information, they say that it should be
Hmm.
this, we learned about this. So it is a competition and comparison from parent to child, from child to parent.
So with the project of home to home farming, that sounds like you're changing the focus from just the children on the football field and educating them there, and they were taking the information home. But now with the home to home farming project, you're putting more of the influence and the contact with the parents and like in the home. Is that right?
Yeah, because people who are fighting projects are parents. Yeah, if they see this record the way I'm talking to you, they will say Andrew has donated a lot of money to Football Without Borders. They don't know the essence of we communicating and doing all these things. So if you read the parents and they are in the line of Football Without Borders, and then you bring the transparency, you are going to develop the community. So the home to home farming idea was to connect the parents and children, so that they learn into the same page. Not that if a child
Mm,
goes with something, they learn on different page. Oh, that person is using you. Oh, that person is doing this. That person is giving wrong information. That is what I was trying to avoid within my community. And if we can train 100 parents, then it means that these 100 parents will train more people, because they are
exactly.
trainers of trainees. And the competition that we are giving to them is that they need to have small groups within themselves. So you can imagine, if we train 30. With this 30, we've given them a target of 20 each. If they can have 20 each, that is a total of 600 parents within the community. It means that you've
Yeah.
transformed the
Huge
community.
impact. Hmm.
Yeah. You've given something that nobody has done. And that is our main objective on changing the community. Remember, we are not using fund to fund these people. We fund their time, yes, with giving them the knowledge, but we don't give them anything. So
Mm,
we can't say that we are asking huge money to do this project. And that's why I started by telling you, if 20%, $20 can be used productively, then it means that it's going to give 100% value to the community.
yeah, absolutely. And so what's the award with this competition of hey, you get points for having a garden and all that. Like, what is the ultimate award? Are they getting something, or is it just like the prestige and status of being the champion?
Yeah, we have a lot of awards. We have the champion. We have Young Farmers Champion. The Young Farmers Champion is someone who has done purely agriculture, and it is really, really amazing. This person might not know how to play football, good football. They even come for only 5 minutes, then go back, and sit in their benches. They can be substitute even 3 times inside the field, because we've given them freedom to interact with others. And
Right.
you find that these people, they only come to the field, maybe they have different interests, they just want to play, or maybe they want to be coaches, or maybe they want to be referees. So we figure out on how we can award them in different levels. And the young farmer champion, we give them maybe some seeds to add value into their farms. We give them
Okay.
fertilizer, yep, fertilizers, or we give them a full kit, or to motivate them maybe to be coaches or referees. Yeah.
Okay, brilliant. So they have some of the awards are like the awards are whether it's on the agriculture side, like seeds or fertilizer, or the football side, it's more of a enticement and more of an investment into like what they're doing and helping to kind of amplify that
Yeah,
as well. Brilliant. And
yeah,
then I know
and
you
and
talked about, yep, sure.
and also maybe I can add, we give them scholarship, like I said. So there are some of the people who are disciplined, because we measure even the discipline with what we are doing and all those points that we have. We always measure even the discipline. So if someone is 100% good in everything, we give them scholarship. in that if we collect our produce from football or agriculture, because we have our farms, we can subsidize the school related cost. We can pay even 50% of their cost in the school. Yeah. And now we have 9 kids that we are doing this for, and they're really
Brilliant.
motivated. If they
Yeah.
come back home, they do much of agriculture because they know there are other people who are doing the same.
Brilliant. And you mentioned too that your experiences in Sweden, you were learning a lot about human rights and about female empowerment as well. Could you tell us about some of those projects?
This is the toughest, like the toughest program ever, because I'm a man, and people believe that when you want to talk about women empowerment and all those things, period management, something like that, you need to be a woman. That is when you feel more about what women are
Mm,
feeling. But I
okay.
found myself doing this because I love doing it. And if you want to support the community, you should know the challenges that the community are facing. When I started football without borders, I went to the schools. And if you go to the register attendance, you'll find that there is time that girls are not in. And if you ask question, maybe they feel headache or they don't have more information about the awareness. So I went to the homes and found like these people lack a lot. Parents can't afford disposal pads. Parents are not aware that these people are attending. They
Mm,
don't know anything about this because these children doesn't share with them. So you can see your child at home, then if you ask, they say they are sick, yet they are not sick. It is because they don't share these things. So I started turning boys into men. That was my first champion, turning boys into men, because I was feeling if we can talk to boys what girls are feeling, then we are
mm,
going to create an environment that girls can share with boys what they are feeling,
wow.
despite of taking the advantage of them, so
Hmm.
that we can do away with early pregnancy. We can do away with early marriage because these are the influence. But for this, it's become a very big challenge because when I started the program, I started by distributing disposal parts. I got the knowledge from MIT in US. In US,
Okay.
they taught us on how to make the reusable sanitary towels. And then when I came to influence this, it was very expensive for me. And then I decided to buy the disposal ones. Remember, you affect your own environment. There is no latrine, there is no toilet that these girls can
Mm,
put this inside, and then they dispose it aimless. So when rain comes, it goes to your river. This river, it
yeah.
is the water that you're using. You're affecting yourself. So I talk of, despite of we talking on gas empowerment, the menstruation and other things, and then we advocate for them to have the disposal ones. We are really affecting our own community, and that is why I decided that we need to have the reusable sanitary towels, in that they can have the knowledge on how to make them by their materials, the ones that they have, the clothes that they can put on, the parts that they put on, so they only add the waterproof onto it. So
Mm,
we started by thread and stitching. Then from there, I influenced my friends and they donated some sewing machines. Now there are 20 sewing machines. And we make these reusable sanitary towels for these girls to have, for free. We go to the
okay.
schools, we train
Yeah.
200 girls, 200, a mixture of boys and girls. We go to more schools. Right now, we are partnered with 25 schools. We train 20, 200 per school. So if you can calculate the number of the participants that we train onto making reusable sanitary towels, the value is there, because now if we go to the register, you can find that there is a school attendant. It is 100%.
Mm,
Girls are performing, you know. So you can imagine what we've had within a short duration of time. And if we
yeah.
can have more sewing machines, in that if I go to maybe Ongecha Secondary School, they only have one sewing machine that we take there, you know. So if they can have 5 or 6 sewing machines, each and every person will get the opportunity to make their own reusable sanitary towels and then go back to the community to do the same. So it
Yeah.
is a journey that I started by feeling what women are feeling when they are
Mm,
in cramps, when they are shedding this blood. They should know the importance of doing this. And when I'm with the girls discussing about this, I tell them you should even pray to God for giving you that blood, because it means that you are fertile. So they keep on asking me, how did you know this? I told them it is important for a man to know more about what you're feeling.
So in that ways, you're definitely challenging the current like cultural perspectives and traditions as well. But like you said, it's such an important thing that is impacting the girl's ability to be educated, to go to school, to then learn and like invest in themselves. And something as simple as, some knowledge and sewing machines can make such an impact on the educational attainment and like the knowledge within your community.
I think nowadays we don't have culture. We only
Mm,
try to force things, actually, because if you think of culture, the older people, or the oldest people, they did value each and every person. They didn't treat each other like enemies.
mm,
When I went to a certain area and found like a girl is in their menstruation and then they're not supposed to cook, they are not supposed to fetch water, they are not supposed to do they are not supposed to be inside the house. That is not good. That is not good for even our culture itself, because these are human beings. So there are some of the
mhm,
things that we develop by ourselves as time goes by. And if we don't go to start with where our parents left, I normally tell these girls that we have an opportunity to share what we feel. And if we can't share it now, let us reverse ourselves. Let us be young. And that because a young child can speak the way they feel,
mhm.
they can
Yep.
tell you that, Daddy, this is wrong. Daddy, what you're doing is not good. But right now, Andrew, you can't face your parent and tell them, no, this is wrong. Because you will have that feeling that the parent, oh, they will hate us, they will do this, something like that.
Yep.
So I always advise them to go to reverse themselves to a young child and then share what they feel. Share the pain that they go through. That is when the other person, the third person, will feel what they're feeling. Yeah.
Mm,
So for me, I always don't talk of the myths and culture and everything. I want to concentrate on what I can do to add value where I can. And then the other person as well will come and add value where they could. For me, my culture is more of educating girls, giving them the opportunity. If you come to low culture, you'll find that the girls have upper hand because we believe if they are educated, they will get better men out there. And
mm,
then from better men, you start to develop a better family as you go. But the remaining culture, they depend on let them get married. Let them, we need cow, we need what? The dowries.
mhm.
Those are the
Right.
culture.
Yeah.
So
So they're
we need
seeing
to.
that as the primary value of the girls and not like what they
Mhm.
can become and achieve and impact within their own community. It's all about those traditional dowry practices and
When we talk of community development, in fact, community are changing now because back then they were asking more of uh, to give 100 cows, 70 cows. Right now, buying a cow is very expensive. So someone will just say, no, you can bring two or three, or you marry
mm,
when you want. Because remember, you share, it is 50-50. I can't give 100% to the person that I'm married. I can't donate everything to their parents. We need to have something that we start with. So the cultural, right now, our age, we are trying to destroy the culture and the beliefs because
mm,
if we want to live on to that idea, then we will not have other families. It means that Luos will marry Luos, Kisses will marry Kisses. And remember, we are football without borders. We want to play football and cross the border to go to there to marry
mhm.
others.
Regardless of the
This,
tribe and yeah,
yeah,
and where people are
yeah,
from.
and everything. We are the same. We are equal. We are everything. So if I think much of my culture, it means that I will marry Luos because for them they have different cultures. So that is why we are doing away with it. We want to build our own culture and our own beliefs. The elders and other things we want to forget. Yeah.
Mm. So you're really proposing not only like a new alternative of education and working within and empowering the community, but that is often having you confront some cultural traditions and traditional values. So I imagine that whenever you try to shake things up and make changes, there's always people that try to resist. So what are some of the things that people say or have been some of like the mindsets that you've had to kind of like work with and people you've had to listen to and try to communicate with and to convince that like the new ideas you're proposing will benefit and make a brighter future for people?
It is a big challenge because the elders must talk negative about what you want to do right now. And what we do in football without borders, we invite them to talk, and then they will say, "This is what we used to do," which means it is it is gone. We are not doing it, you know. So it is just to create awareness that that is what they used to do, so that these children should know that they used to give 100 cows, they used to do this, they used not to go to the hospital, but now people are going to the hospital. Even themselves, they are going to the hospital. You see. So despite them fighting us, they're adding value to what we can think of. It means that we keep on moving with our culture, but we leave it in speed and beat. So they fight us at the same time. We give them a positivity on how they can react to whatever that they're fighting. So for me, I always provide a lot of platform for them in the internal leagues, during football for agriculture leagues, during our external leagues, so that they can share more about the culture, what the
Mm-hmm.
value of culture by them.
So with what you're doing, it's a slow, patient process because you know that you have to go directly to all of the people who will doubt or talk badly about what you're doing, and but you're inviting them into the conversation.
Yeah, because if I'm 40 years old, I know much more than a 20-year-old or more than 15-year-old, because I live in that stage that people
Mm-hmm.
who are 40 years are, and what I know is totally different.
Like that is that key element of success is not only having the conversation and going directly to the doubters or people who say this is not our culture or you're trying to rock the boat, but you're proving by educating the kids and actually building enterprises, building opportunities that yes, you want to be able to convince people and bring them to your side, but you're also proving your methods at the same time, and so they can just see the evidence, and over time the number of doubts and people speaking against will decrease as they see
Yeah,
like the success that you guys are having, and obviously as it impacts them creates more impact like for the community in general. And I think it's just really fascinating that all of these really difficult conversations and changes within the culture and community are kind of all coming from this very simple game of football because it's something that attracts people, that excites people, brings that joy and the opportunity for unity. That's kind of where it's starting. It's not like you're going directly into the agriculture and other areas by itself. It's like it starts with the football, and that's what really brings everyone together in the first place.
definitely, because football is just to bring these people together. It's used as a tool to mobilize youths or anybody within the community. Then, after they arrived there, what do you have for them? Are you going to teach even people who doesn't know football to play football?
Mm-hmm.
These are the questions that we need to ask ourselves. Even if you have academy, even if you have an organization, you need to ask these kind of questions. If you have this kind of questions, then you work on the positivity of your mission and your vision. Because if I say that I want to eradicate poverty, then I'm using football. I play football inside the field. How do I eradicate poverty? You know, how do I teach HIV and AIDS? How do I teach all these things? So it is just because people love football, they come together. Yes, they come to play. Then from the
Mm-hmm.
play, it is only 90 minutes. You want
Yes.
to keep these people maybe for 1 hour or 2 hours. From there, what do you have for them? It is a question that we keep on asking ourselves. You do this today, these people doesn't get professional clubs to play in, they come back. These people will come back. Will they work? You've kept these people for more than 10, 20 years. You know,
Yeah, exactly.
you've wasted their time. So we need to
Yeah.
give them something. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, it's a conversation I've had a lot. There's such a small percentage that make it as a professional. It's such a difficult road. And when you're only developing that athletic ability, you're missing so many other things. And even if they go on to have a fantastic football and career, there is going to be that one day where they retire, they can't play anymore. And then what will they do from there? Right. And so there's still another 40, 50, 60 years at least to live and to survive and to prosper for themselves and their family. So yeah, I love what you're doing with Football Without Borders. Not only the fact that it's teaching life skills, but you're being active and giving a lot of agency to the children in the community. You're connecting generations. You're having these really important cultural conversations of what does need to change in order to shape a better life. And yeah, it's brilliant. But I think the one final question here, George, that we'll chat about today is something I like to ask all of the guests is, could you answer or could you finish the sentence, because football?
Because of football, people are changing lives. You know, because of football, they are changing their lives. This is where you build friendship. This is where you interact. This is where you build your leadership skills. This is where you learn Andrew's problem. So it is something that connect. Football, we connect. I think that is the great answer that I give you.
I agree, man. It's great to see what you're doing. And what's a good way for people to, to connect with you, to see what the organization is doing and maybe be able to support in any way?
Yeah, I'm doing a messing on LinkedIn, and that is where we met. So in LinkedIn, you can just log into Jojo Osoya. It is there. You can go to Football Without Borders as a page on LinkedIn. Again, if you go to to Instagram, it is Football Without Borders. You go to Facebook, it's Football Without Borders. If you go to Twitter, it is Football Without Borders, and YouTube as well. We are Football Without
Okay.
Borders. Yeah, and
Brilliant.
we have website just like Andrew says. We have Football Without Borders Kenya.org. Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, and we'll include links for all of those outlets as well, so everybody can keep track of you. But George, this was amazing. Like, there's so much more I think that could be said and worth this discussion. So we'd love to connect with you again in the future to see how things are progressing. But thank you so much for sharing about yourself, your community, and your work with Football Without Borders Kenya. It's been a pleasure to have you.
Yeah, I'm so happy to be part of this, Andrew, because I know it is dedication, it is passion. You know, when I do something I do within the community, you need to feel more advantage because there is some of the people that you educate, some of the people that you bring up to be like you, and that is why I always feel like we cannot say that we train leaders, but we train followers, people who can follow whatever that you're doing, so that they advance onto it. So I just want to appreciate you for giving us the platform to share with people. Let them visit our pages. I'm free to connect each and every time, so they can just click in, WhatsApp me. I will leave my number with you. If someone feel like
Sure.
they can WhatsApp me, it is great. I will really appreciate. But if you linked in, you go there, then message me. I will reply immediately. Thank you so much, Andrew.
Thank you, George, for being on the podcast. And thank all of you for listening and watching. We appreciate it. And we'll see you guys on the next episode of Because Football.
Bye bye.